How personal is too personal when you're writing songs? On this episode of the MarshyCast, I'm joined by singer-songwriter Hollie Rogers to talk about her latest single, her forthcoming album, and a busy run of live shows, including dates in Havant and Bognor. We chat about why she loves entertaining audiences between the songs, even if a career in stand-up comedy probably isn't on the cards. We also discuss why intimate venues can be just as rewarding as huge festival stages, her unique songwriting process, how she decides what parts of her life to share through her music, and the incredible collaborations on the new album with Els Bailey, Beth Nielsen Chapman, and the Budapest Symphony Orchestra. It's Paul Marsh, and I'm delighted to say that I've been joined by Hollie Rogers. Hollie, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm quite hot, but I think we all are at the moment, aren't we?
I know, right? We're not designed to have this, are we? We don't do very well in extreme cold or extreme heat. We like to stay in the middle.
Yeah, like 22, 23, we're fine. Yeah. And anything beyond that, we're going to be complaining, aren't we?
Let's talk about you, your music, but especially your gigs. It's what you're known for. You are known for your live show. I think you've spent years building a loyal audience for all of your live shows. Maybe for anybody that's discovering you for the first time, how would you describe a Hollie Rogers gig?
Oh, what a great question. Well, I think it's something that could make you laugh and cry. I'm not quite sure how it happens, but I've definitely got songs that people say makes them cry. But often people will come up to me and say, you should do stand-up comedy, which fills me with horror, by the way. Like the idea of like actually having to be funny on stage rather than just accidentally being funny on stage is a lot of pressure. I could never do it. It's like my worst nightmare doing stand-up, but I do try and keep it sort of lighthearted, a bit of stage banter, and people seem to enjoy that as much as they enjoy the music. So,
well, do you know that's how Billy Connolly started?
Is that right? What, doing music?
He started doing music, doing folk music. He played in a group called the Humble Bums, and then he went on to do some solo bits and pieces. And
what a great name.
And basically, the storytelling and the skits in between songs got longer and longer and longer, and he just ended up moving into comedy.
Amazing. Yeah, I do find myself wittering on sometimes, and sometimes I'm like, what on earth am I talking about? But people are laughing, so it keeps me going.
That's the main thing, isn't it? Yeah. You are back at the Spring Arts Centre in Havant, just outside of Portsmouth, a little bit later this summer. What is it about playing those smaller, intimate venues that suits your music so well?
It's just really nice to be able to actually connect with people. Like, I mean, it's great to do a big festival show or something to a crowd of 1,000. That's a big buzz, but you don't get to talk to people afterwards and actually hear what they thought of the show and, you know, get to know them like they've just gotten to know you through the show. So I really like the opportunity to be able to meet people and have a chat with them afterwards.
Well, obviously, talking about the difference in the two, obviously you've got the Spring at Havant, and then you got the South Downs Folk Festival at Bognor a little bit later. Obviously,
that's right.
Is it a different set for different people for different occasions? Where's the overlap?
It generally it depends whether I got the band with me or not. So I do shows with a 5-piece band, and I do shows occasionally on my own, but very rarely do I play solo these days. But it will either be with the band or as a duo with my keys player. And there are songs that lend themselves better to the band, and songs that lend themselves better to the duo setup. And so the set would generally be crafted depending on what the lineup of the band is. Like the opening track, the one that we use as a band, it just doesn't work as a duo, so that never gets played in a duo set. So that's kind of how I go about it. But it would, you know, if I've got a festival set, it's going to be shorter as well. It's like 45 minutes, so it's all killer, no filler. And then, you know, if I'm doing a headline set at an arts centre or something, that's going to be more like an hour and a half to 2 hours. So there'll be maybe some more of the gentle songs in there, which is quite nice. Sometimes I'll step away from the mic as well and do a little unplugged tune as well, which you can't do at a big festival crowd. Yeah.
What about the audience? How much do the audience have to say? For example, obviously, when you're doing your own show, obviously the people are there to see you. When you go to a festival, they're there to experience the whole thing. Do you ever look out from side of stage and you look at the crowd and maybe you adjust your set list?
I don't think I've ever adjusted the set, but I've certainly adjusted my level of nerves. Like, I do definitely look out at the crowd and think, this is changing how I'm feeling. But I think when I've got the set in my head, I'm a total control freak. So once I know what the set is, it's pretty fixed. And if someone came along and said, we're going to change this up, I'd be like, no, panic. So yeah, that's just my control freakery.
You're talking about talking in between the songs. Is it you're talking about how the songs were created, how they were crafted, how they were recorded, or is it just random things that you've seen during the day?
It could be either. I do often tell a story about where the song came from, although some of them are like quite intensely personal, so I'm not going to go into it. But I will also just talk about what I have for breakfast. Anything can come out. I don't really plan it. There's a few little go-to bits of stage banter, but it often just ends up going in a completely bonkers direction, and I end up not knowing what I'm talking about.
I love that people might have seen you 2, 3, 4 times in a row and seen a different gig every single time.
Yes, that's definitely it. It depends on my mood as well. I'm always chatty, but sometimes more chatty than other times, depending on like how tired I am, how long we've been on the road for, and often when I'm more tired, I talk more.
Let's talk about the current single, He Reminds Me of You. It's such a beautifully simple title, but instantly sparks that curiosity. Where did it all begin?
It was inspired by a story that somebody told me, and I wrote the verses really quickly for He Reminds Me of You, and I thought, oh, these verses are strong. This could be a contender, for an album track or a track that I really love. And then I tried to write a chorus, and it just didn't come. Nothing was coming, and I kept revisiting it. I'm talking over years, like probably 3-4 years I sat on this one, and I wrote maybe 8 different choruses for it, and some of them were okay, but none of them I didn't feel they were good enough for the strength of the verses. And so in the end, I went to a rehearsal with my keys player, Ed Blunt, who's a songwriter as well. We sometimes write together. And I said, we're going to play a game, and I'm going to play you a verse that you've never heard before, and I want you to improvise a chorus. And he was like, okay, fun. I didn't tell him I was pressing record on my phone because I thought that might throw him off. And he played the first 2 chords, and he sang the line, "The way he wears his hat." Those were the lyrics that came out. And then the rest was just sort of mumbled nonsense. But that was enough to unlock it for me. And I was like, that's it. You've done it. You've absolutely cracked the chorus. So now he gets a writing credit, and he says he doesn't even remember it happening. I could have claimed it all for myself. But sometimes you have to, you can be, when you've written something that's personal, it can be tempting to be quite precious about it, but keep it for yourself. But if you've been sitting on it for 4 years and you haven't cracked it yet, there's really going to be no harm taking it to somebody else. And
sometimes it helps to step out of a box, doesn't it? And view it from a different perspective.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly that. And that's what I needed. I just needed somebody else's ears and somebody else's musical brain to just unlock it. And I love the chorus on that track. It's so kind of hooky and catchy. So yeah, it was definitely worth doing.
Is that because that, by the way, that seems like a very unusual way of writing as well, because usually you either start with a melody or a hook or the chorus or whatever it is. You start with something like that and then you build the verses around it. So do you usually do that?
It depends, really. If I'm co-writing, we do all sorts of things. So it usually just starts from a chat and everyone's got a guitar in their hands and then something just kind of happens. If I'm writing on my own, though, this sounds really pretentious, but I really feel like it's like not me that's doing it. If I'm trying to write, then nothing happens. But when I don't try and I let it happen by itself, sometimes it just feels like the words are kind of falling out of my face, and they're just sounds. And then I listen back to what I've just recorded and I go, oh, that actually sounds like words. And I write the words down and I go, oh, that's a clever lyric. But I don't feel like I can take credit for it because it doesn't feel like I thought of it. It feels like it happened by itself. So it's a really strange thing. And I know I'm not alone as a songwriter in experiencing that when writing on your own.
Do you have different relationships with songs, whether you've written something completely on your own, whether you've co-written or whether somebody else has written it?
Definitely. I mean, I don't generally do covers. Occasionally I'll throw a cover into a set, but I don't play cover very often. And I feel that I don't really connect particularly with a cover song unless it's something meaningful from my childhood or something like that. With co-writes, it's just a really different thing to writing on your own. When you write on your own, it's inevitably going to be about personal experience. That's my experience anyway, is that it ends up being deeply personal, can be quite cathartic, quite emotional. And when you're co-writing, you might even be in a room with strangers. You're literally thrown into a room with someone you've never met before. And so you're not going to be your most vulnerable self or talking about your most deep personal experiences. I mean, sometimes that happens if you really click with someone and you get to know them, but you might be writing somebody else's story. And so you end up, you still feel a connection to the song. It's no more or no less than the connection that you have with something you've written by yourself, but it is a different connection for sure.
I've interviewed a few songwriters, and I always say that there are certain songs that, as the listener, make me bawl like a baby. And I hear a certain song and I just have... And I think this has really changed since I became a parent. I think it really changes a lot. And I listen to certain songs and I have tears running down my face. And then I ask them, how do you do that as a songwriter? How do you put something so personal on the page and know that if it becomes a big enough hit, or if it's, something the fans love, there's a potential of you singing it 2-3 times a week on stage in front of thousands of people and not breaking down in tears every single time?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think it's, for me, like the most personal songs that I've written, the act of writing it, that's the moment where you get all the emotion out, and that it's that cathartic thing, like a process that needed to happen. And then once it's written, then singing it on stage, maybe it doesn't hit in the same way that it did the moment that you wrote it, and it's kind of for the people now. It's for them to connect with. That said, I have had moments where I've cried mid-song. There's a song that I wrote about moving to London to chase a dream of becoming a musician, and that's what the song is about leaving an old life behind and chasing something quite scary and exciting. And it's a song that has really connected with people and does often make people cry. And I was singing it once in front of a very big crowd of several thousand people on a big main stage at a festival. And as I was singing it, I was thinking, oh my God, I've done it. I've done the thing that I was, I wrote it at the beginning, and now I'm where I'm singing about wanting to be. And I did genuinely just start to cry, but I think people could tell then that it was real. And then that just perhaps makes a performance stronger or more authentic. So it was a really nice moment.
That's amazing. I love that. Well, let's flip that on its head then. You must have had a situation where a song that you've written, somebody's come up to you and said, I couldn't have written this, but you have perfectly summed up how I feel.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that often happens with songs where they tell me why it's connected with them or what they think it's about. And I'm thinking, actually, that's not what it's about at all.
Yes.
Or it might even be a co-write, or it might be something that was completely invented and not actually a real personal experience. And I never, like I said, I don't go into what songs are about too often because they are so personal. And I feel like the song is the thing that does the work. And if it connects with someone in a particular way and they hear it in a certain way, that's brilliant. It's like a painting, isn't it?
Yeah.
See different things in it. But like the song Spaceman on the album, that was, it was inspired by something that Ed and I saw one night. We saw a meteor crash into the Earth atmosphere. It came really low over our heads. It was absolutely amazing. Never seen anything like it. And that just inspired the opening line, remember the night we saw the light in the sky. And then it turned into this whole narrative, like invented narrative about a spaceman lost in the sky. And people have heard it and interpreted it as like a metaphor for grief and things like that, which it wasn't when we were writing it necessarily, but it has become that because that's what people hear in it. And I just love that, how, a song can take on a different meaning depending on the listener.
I think that is absolutely amazing. And I love that. And I think you're right, by the way, in the fact that some stories you will tell and there's some stories you won't tell because it's all down to the listener. I think that's really, really beautiful. Yeah. The album is called Everything's Fine, which feels like something something we've all said with a smile when we
Yes,
definitely
absolutely.
mean something else. Is that why this is the perfect title?
Yeah, and honestly, I can't tell you how many times I have said that throughout this album project, like doing all the admin and everything. The amount of times stuff's happened and I've had to go, breathe, everything's fine. Like, it couldn't be a more perfect title. It became very meta. But yes, it is just that sarcastic thing that we say. And it was written with Els Bailey and Beth Nielsen Chapman. And it started out of a conversation the three of us were having that day because poor Els was really ill. We were on a songwriting camp and she was like, no, I'm not going home. There's work to be done. And we were like, oh, kudos to you, powering through. And we were sort of talking about that thing that we do, especially as like independent artists and as women as well. Like they're both mothers. I'm not a mother, but they are. And they were talking about that and how you just have to power through. And that's what inspired this, slightly sarcastic song. Well, very sarcastic song. Everything's fine. Everything's very much not fine. But it's just what we say.
How was it working with Els and Beth? And then, by the way, even the Budapest Symphony Orchestra, OMG. What was it like working with them?
Oh, it was amazing. So the orchestra thing was just, as I said, I'm never getting over it. I couldn't be there in person when they were recording because obviously they're in Hungary, but I was there on Zoom. It's the first and hopefully last time I've ever cried on a Zoom call just because I heard them playing and I was like, oh my God, like I'd written the parts and heard of kind of MIDI mock-up of what they were going to play, but hearing an actual orchestra playing these parts that I'd kind of screeched into my iPhone while sitting on my mum's sofa eating cheese about a week before was just so surreal. So that was amazing. And working with Beth and Els was great as well. I already knew them, but we'd never written together before. So I felt quite comfortable in the room with them because we were already friends. And it was a very quick write. We only had sort of half a day and it all just kind of came out really quickly. It's really nice when it kind of happens like that and you don't really have to work at it.
Well, you haven't cried at the end of this Zoom call yet, but we're not there yet. So let's fingers crossed. Okay.
It's still time. Tell me you hate the album, then I'll cry.
I would never, not to your face anyway. You have given more than enough of your time. I just want to finish with a few quick fire questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
Let's do some of the generic ones. Tea or coffee before a gig?
Oh, tea every time. Yeah.
First song on the set, start with the big bang or wait until the moment before the encore?
Start with the big bang, but also reserve a second big bang for the moment before the encore.
Song that you are most looking forward to playing at the Spring Arts Centre in Havant?
Probably He Reminds Me of You.
One word to describe Everything's Fine.
Fine.
It's not the best way to describe an album, I'll be honest with you.
I know.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Right, we really want you to sell your album now. You got one word. It's fine. It's okay. It's okay.
Well, they can make their own minds up then, can't they? It hopefully breeds a bit of curiosity.
And finally, why should someone who's never seen Hollie Rogers before come along to Havant all the Bognor shows?
Because I promise to make you smile. And everyone likes to smile, don't they?
I think if you haven't smiled at least once throughout this interview, you probably need to check your pulse or something.
There you go.
Hollie, it has been absolutely wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much for talking to us. If you could just do the honour of introducing your current single.
Of course. This is my single, He Reminds Me of You, from my album Everything's Fine.